Persians. Chorus. Here are we, the trusted ones of the Persians gone to the land of Greece, we guards of the wealthy gold-decked places chosen as fits our age and rank, by Xerxes himself, our lord and king, the son of Darius, to steward this land. But my heart, a prophet of evil, is troubled over the homeward return of the king, and of the army bright with gold. All of the might that Asia has spawned has departed, howling for a young husband. No messengers, riders, nor runners have come to the Persian city. The men of Susa and Ecbatana, and of the ancient Kissian stronghold, have set forth and left, some on horseback, others on shipboard, and others foot soldiers, forming the tight array of war, men like Amistris, Artaphernes, Megabates, and Astaspis, chieftains of Persia, under kings of the one great king. They're sped, heads of a mighty army, horsemen and conquerors with the bow, fearsome to look on, awesome in battle, with steadfast resolve in their souls. Artambares, stirred by the chariot's onrush, and Macistris, and the bowmaster, noble Emmaus, and Pharandaces, and Sosthenes, the driver of horses. Others have gone, sent forth by the Nile, that great and much nurturing stream, Susicanes, Pagastagon, the scion of Egypt, and lofty Arsames, who governs in holy Memphis, Ariomardus, overseer of ancient Thebes, and treaders of marshes, now rowers of ships, fearsome, numberless in their throng. Following these went the host of the Lydians, soft living men, who control those who dwell on a continent's shores. These Mithridates and noble Arctaeus, royal commanders, and the gold-covered city of Sardis sent out, riding on chariots, some pulled by 2 teams, others by 3, dread weapons of war, a fearsome sight to behold. Dwellers on sacred Tmolus, they hasten to throw a slavish yoke upon Greece. Mardon, Therubis, anvils to spearheads, and javelin-hurling Mysians, Babylon too. The gold-covered city sends forth a mixed throng in a straggling line. These are stationed on ships, stalwart with strength, that draws back the bow. From all of Asia there follows the race, that wields the dagger, heeding the awesome call of the king. Such is the flower of men now gone from Persian land, for whom every corner of Asia, their nursemaid, groans and laments with terrible longing. Parents and wives are trembling in fear at the long stretch of time, the accounting of days. By now the royal city-sacking host has crossed the straits and gone to lands adjacent, linking with hemp-bound raft the gap the helly swam, throwing a many-bolted yoke on the neck of the sea, a new roadway. Bold in assault, the leader of much-peopled Asia drives his divine flock over the entire earth in double advance, on foot and by sea, trusting commanders who stay firm and true, a godlike man from a race of gold. He casts his eyes the dark blue glance of a murderous serpent. He has great throngs of men and of ships, and he drives a Syrian chariot. On 2 spear-famed men he hurls the bow-wielding war god Ares. No one, we think, will stand up against the vast human river, or keep out invincible waves of the sea by using stout bulwarks. The host of the Persians cannot be attacked. Strong of heart is our race. Our God-sent fate from long ago sends victory. It charges the Persians with tower-toppling wars, with whirling swarms of horsemen, and with smashings of cities. And they have learned to look upon the briny grove of the far-faring sea as the raging storm wind whips its white, relying on fine stranded cables and inventions for carrying troops. What mortal man can dodge the trick-filled deceptions of God, who thus has mastered the easy leap with a nimble foot? Kindly and wheedling at first comes reckless Ate, but then she leads men into nets and snares no mortal man can jump over or hope to escape. Thus is my heart, robed in black and torn by terror. Awe for the Persian army. I dread that the city may hear this and learn that Susa's great fortress is emptied. And the Kissian city will say in reply, Awe, while throngings of women hear this word and the rending of linen clothes begin. All the horse-borne host and all the foot-borne host went out like a swarm of bees, following the army's chieftain, passing the headland that juts in the sea, land shared by two lands, a double yoke bridging them both. Beds that once held husbands now hold longing and tears. The women of Persia soft in their grief and are left alone, each bidding farewell to her bedmate, the charging spearmen with longing. Their yokemates alone in the yoke. Persians, dwellers beneath this ancient roof, let us take thought, careful and deep. The need has arrived. How will he fare, Xerxes our king, the son of Darius? Is it the twang of the bow that has won, or the might of the blade that tips the spear? But look, a light like the eyes of the gods, the mother of our king is coming. My queen, I kneel before her. We all must address her with words of greeting. Hail, Majesty, loftiest of deep-girt Persian women, ancient mother of Xerxes, wife of Darius that was. You are the spouse of one Persian god, and a second one's mother. Unless the divinity's gone that has always guided the army. Atosa. That's it. That's why I've left my gold-decked palace and come here. Left the bedroom of Darius, the room he and I once shared, for worries are tearing my heart. I'll confide it in you, my friends. I can't escape the warnings, the growing sense of fear, the fear that our great wealth, with a cloud of dust, may upset with a kick the success my husband Darius brought us. He and one of the gods, I cannot express this double concern that troubles my mind. A great store of wealth without men to guard it has no place of honor, yet the light does not shine on men who lack wealth to match their power. We have wealth enough, no fault there, yet fear sits before my eyes. The master's presence to my mind is like the eye of the house. Therefore, since this is the state of things, take counsel with me on what I am about to say. You Persians, my old trusted friends, all my plans are in your hands. Help make them wise. Chorus. Know this well, my country's queen. You only need ask once for any word or deed that lies within my power to grant. The counselors you call in this matter are well disposed to help you. I've often been beset by dreams at night, ever since the day my son dispatched the army to the land of the Ionians, hoping to take it, but never yet did I see one so vivid as the dream I had last night. Let me describe it. Two women appeared to me, both finely dressed, one in the robes that Persian women wear, the other in Doric dress. They seemed to be far taller than the women one sees today, and flawless in their beauty. They were sisters, born from the same race. One dwelt in Greece, her home by lot, the other non-Greek land. A discord then arose between these two, or so I seemed to see. My son saw this and tried to get control and calm them down. He yoked them to a chariot, put halter straps below their necks. One gloried in this gear. Her mouth was pacified by bit and reins. The other grew unquiet, and with her hands she smashed the chariot's gear and dragged it off by force. Now free of reins, she breaks the yoke in two. Out falls my son, his father, standing there. Darius pities him. When Xerxes sees him, he tears the ropes he wears about his body. That was what I saw in sleep last night. When I awoke, I dipped my hands in a spring of sweet water. Then, prompt with offerings, I went to an altar bringing a honey meal cake, a sacrifice for the gods who turn away evils. But I glimpsed an eagle fleeing toward Phoebus' shrine. I stopped right there, friends, and stood speechless with fright. For the next thing I saw was a falcon, flying full speed, harassing the eagle with wings and tearing its head with talons. The eagle had no defense but to cower, surrendering itself. This bred terror in me as I watched, and now in you as you hear. You can be certain of this. If my son fares well, he will be a man worthy of wonder. If he fares ill, but he can't be held to account. If he gets out alive, either way, he'll still rule this land. Mother of our king, we urge you to have neither too much fear nor too much confidence. Beseech the gods with offerings, ask them to avert the dream. If you've seen some meaningless phantom, pray that good things come to pass for yourself, for your children, for the city, and for your friends. Next, you must pour libations to earth and to souls of the dead. Seek their favor, and ask them this, that your husband Darius, the one whom you say you see in your dream, send blessings for you and your son from below ground up to the daylight, and that things without blessing stay fast in the earth and covered by shadow. I devise this out of goodwill for you. I'm a prophet who sees with the heart. We think that the outcome of all this for you will be nothing but good. Yes, you, the first to interpret these dreams, the one who delivered this prophecy. You show kindness to both my son and my household. May all turn out well. All of these we shall set out as you counsel, for the gods and for our loved ones who died and went below ground, as soon as we return home. Friends, here's something I'd like to know. Where's this Athens they talk of? In what part of the earth does it lie? Far away in the direction of where Lord Helios sets. Really, and yet my son longs to bring down this faraway city. Yes, for if he succeeds, all of Greece would be under the king. They have such an army, such numbers of men to accomplish all that. Yes, and such a large army as once did much harm to the Medes. Is it the bow-drawn blade in their hands that gives them such glory? No, indeed, it's their shields and the spears that they wield standing firm. What else besides this? Do their royal houses hold adequate measures of wealth? They have some fountain of silver, a treasury straight from the earth. Who is the shepherd that drives their army? What master compels them? It is said they are neither subject nor slaves of any such men. What? But then how could they hold their own against warlike invaders? They do. They destroyed the fine and full-numbered host of Darius. Your words bring fear to the minds of the parents of those on the march. But it seems that soon you will know the entire truth of this matter. This man who comes here on the run distinctly looks to be Persian. He brings some clear news of events, whether fine things or evils to hear. You cities all across the land of Asia, and you, my Perses, reservoir of wealth, how great is the success that's been brought down by a single blow. The flower of Persian youth is fallen. Cry, oh, it's an evil to first denounce evils, and yet necessity bids me unfold the whole woe. Persians, our entire army has been destroyed. Agony, agony, fresh wounds, and deep ones, aye, aye. Weep, Persians, as you hear them. Yes, since all we had is brought to ruin, beyond my hopes I see the light of home. Too long the time of life for us old men who hear of this unlooked-for woe. I tell you I was there. My tale of evils did not arise from other men's reports. Ototoi. In vain the varied weapons went out from Asian land to attack implacable Hellas. The shores of Salamis and nearby lands are heaped with bodies of the ill-fated dead. Ototoi. You tell of corpses of friends, rock-smashed, sea-dipped, life-departed, carried about in ropes that drift with the tide. Their archery failed them. The whole force was destroyed and mastered by rammings made by ships. Call out the mournful cry, the cry of ill fate for our fighters. The gods have made everything wretched, aye, aye, for the loss of the army. Hateful the name of Salamis, hateful to hear. I groan as I bring Athens back to mind. Athens reviled by her foes, we remember as well. Athens made many Persian women husbandless, uselessly wed. I've held my tongue till now, struck dumb by evils. Beyond all limits stretches our disaster. Sufferings too great to speak or ask about, and yet necessity makes us mortals. Bear the pains the gods bestow. Stand and speak, disclose, though groaningly, what they endured. Who's not yet dead, or who among the leaders are we to mourn for? Men picked out for rule, whose deaths would leave their office tenantless. Lord Xerxes lives and looks upon the light. That word you spoke, a great light to my house. Bright day bursts forth from out of black cloak tonight. But Artambares, head of a host of horsemen, was battered there along the Cylenian shore, and Dadases, squadron leader, at a spear's thrust performed a graceful leap from his ship's deck, and noble Tanagon of high Bactrian blood was pounded on the sea-smashed isle of Ajax, Lilias, Arsames, and third Argestes, mixed up together, but the stony ground around the island frame for breeding doves, as does Pharnucus, neighbor to the springs of the Egyptian Nile, and also Arcteus, Adeos, Phereseus, three from one ship. Metellus of Crisa, captain of 10,000, in death has dyed his beard, changing its color by dipping its bushy fullness into red. And Arab Magus and Bactrian Artabes, who led a troop of 30,000 horse, has died a settler in a cruel land. Amistris and Amphistrius, he who wielded a busy spear, and noble Areomardus, the scourge of Sardes, and Mysian Cymesames, and Tharibus, of 5 times 50 ships. The master, a Lyrnaean, fair of face, lies dead and wretched there, an unfair fate. Cyanices, the first in bravery, the captain of Cilicians, one single man who gave his foes much trouble, died with glory. So much for recollections. Many evils took place there. I have mentioned but a few. Aye, your words report the height of sorrows, shame for the Persians, cause for wails and shrieks. But take your story back to its beginning, and tell me, did the Greeks have such great numbers of ships as to assail the Persian navy, to dare begin the clash of ramming beaks? In numbers we of Asia far excelled enough to win. In fact, the whole Greek number came to 300 ships, including 10 that made up a picked squadron, their elite. Xerxes, as I well know, possessed 1,000 plus twice as 100 and another 7, that exceeding speed. Such was the tally. Note its advantage. Then would you not think some god contrived destruction for our army, tilting the scales with an unequal chance? The gods protect divine Athena's city. You mean that Athens has not yet been sacked? Its people still live on assured defense. How did it all begin? The clash of warships. Who offered battle first? Was it the Greeks or my son Xerxes, too proud in throngs of ships? It was some spirit of vengeance, some evil spirit that started this whole woe. My sovereign lady, a Greek came from the camp of the Athenians and gave this message to her son Xerxes. As soon as night with gloomy shadow falls, the Greeks will not stand fast. They'll leap upon the decks of ships and sail now here, now there, preserving life by fleeing in the dark. He heard these words but did not understand the trickery of the Greek or spite of God. To all commanders he announces this: when the sun no longer broils the earth with rays, when darkness fills the temple of the sky, they must arrange the navy in 3 squadrons to guard the roaring straits and passageways, while other ships encircle Ajax's isle. And if the Greeks escape the waiting evil, finding some hidden path for ships to flee, the orders were all captains lose their heads. Such words he spoke with cheerful disposition, not understanding what the gods would bring. The captains took their dinner in good order, obedient in mind. Their crews meanwhile fastened their oars to thole pins, ready for rowing. The light of day declined and night arrived. Onto their ships went rulers of the oar, along with those who governed soldiers' weapons. Squadron to squadron, the crews cheered one another. Each sailor keeps his place and follow orders. All night the admirals maintained the fleet in constant action, sailing here and there. Night moved along, but still the ships of Greece made no attempt at a disguised escape. And when bright day rode in on shining steeds, and everywhere the land was clear to see, then first a cry rang out resoundingly song-like amid the Greeks, and high and shrill an echo answered back from the island's rocks. Our side was gripped by fear, for now we knew we had been tricked. No song of fight the Greeks were singing there, but a battle hymn to urge them on to war with zeal and courage. The trumpet, too, was setting them all aflame. They beat the salty sea as criers bid them, striking together with a splash of oars. Then suddenly they all were there, unhidden. Their right wing came on first and kept good order, leading formation. Next, the entire navy advanced against us. A great shout could be heard: "Go forward, all you children of the Greeks! Free your homeland, free your wives and children, the shrines of gods that your forefathers worshipped, the tombs of ancestors. Now it's a fight for all." An answer came from our side. Persian words, a babble of voices. Now the time had come. In an instant, ships were driving metal prows in other ships. The ramming was begun by a Greek ship that smashed apart the stern of a Phoenician vessel. Then all took aim at all. At first the Persian line, a floating wave, bore up. But when our multitude of ships got crowded in the straits, could not give help to allies, struck each other with bronze-beak rams, they shattered their own oars with their collisions. And Greek ships, not unmindful of their plight, began to strike, sailing round them in a circle. Ships rolled hulls up. You couldn't see the water beneath a layer of wrecks and butchered men. The shores and reefs around were filled with corpses. Whatever ships were left from our great host now fled with a disordered pull of oars. The Greeks kept striking, spearing men like fish. Some tunas they had caught with splintered oars, they skewered them. A mournful wail arose, groans of lament that filled the sea until an end at last arrived with dark-eyed night. A host of evils, I could not tell them all, not even if I spoke for 10 days' time. Of this be certain, never in one day did men in such great numbers meet their deaths. Aye, aye, a sea of evils. Its wave breaks on Persians and on every Asian nation. But the evil has not even reached its midpoint. Know this, their so great weight of sufferings will drag the scales of woe down twice as far. What fate could have beset them worse than this? Recount for us what ills befell the army, tilting the balance further down toward pain. The Persians, who were in the peak of strength, stalwart of spirit, born of noble blood, foremost in trusted service to their king, are dead, and by shameful ill-fame to death. Ah, my wretched fate undoes me, friends. In what way do you say that these men died? There is an island hard by Salamis, a small place lacking harbors. The god Pan, lover of dances, lurks about its headlands. There Xerxes sent these men. The plan was this: when shipwrecked foes swam safely to this island, our men would kill these undefended Greeks, but also save our allies from the waters. He was a bad judge of what lay in store. For when the god gave victory to the Greeks on that same day, they donned their metal armor and leaped out of their ships, drawing a noose around the entire island. Nowhere to turn for our men. Many were smashed by pelting stones thrown by Greek hands, while elsewhere arrows fell, launched from the bowstring, killing as they flew. At last the Greeks rushed forth in one great wave, striking, butchering, hacking off their limbs, till they snuffed out the life of every man. Xerxes perceived the depth of ruin and groaned. His perch allowed a view of the whole army, a hilltop high above the briny sea. He tore his ropes and let out a shrill wail, then straightway gave out orders to the land force and fled pell-mell for home. So there you have another woe to mourn, beside the first. You hateful deity who stole the sense from out of Persian minds. Revenge on Athens has cost my son a bitter price. Too few were they the ones whom Marathon destroyed. My son set out to gain their recompense, but brought back rather this great host of woes. But tell about the ships that fled their fate. Where were they when you left them, can you say?